I walked into the kitchen, and Clara was already there, scrolling through her phone. "Morning," I said. She didn't look up. "Morning," she replied. Her voice clipped, like it barely belonged to her. "You okay?" I asked, pouring coffee. "Into my favorite mug," she shrugged. "Fine," she said. "Just busy." I watched her for a moment. Something felt off. It wasn't the way she answered MIT. It was the way her fingers lingered on her phone, like it held secrets. Ryan's words came back to me. "Pay attention to the small things. That's where trouble hides." I shook it off. I didn't want to think about it. Later at the office, Ryan called. "You've been quiet lately," he said. "Everything good at home?" I laughed, though it sounded forced even to me. "Everything's fine." "Why? You've got that look, man. It's like you're walking into a trap you don't see." I waved him off. "I'm fine." "Really? You sure? Claire's been acting weird too, haven't you noticed?" I paused, pretending to sip my coffee. "I don't know, maybe she's just stressed, Ryan." "Stress or secrets? Big difference," he said, then laughed lightly. "Just keep your eyes open." I hung up and shook my head. I hated the nagging feeling, but I ignored it. My life was perfect, or at least I thought it was. That evening, I came home early. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I smelled coffee brewing and something else. Laughter. Not my laughter. Hers soft, intimate, unfamiliar. I froze. I crept to the living room window and peeked inside. My heart stopped. Clara was on the couch, leaning close to Daniel. She was laughing, the kind of laugh I had never heard from her. A laugh meant for him, not me. "I can't believe you remembered that," she said, her hand brushing his arm lightly. Daniel smirked. "Of course I remember, you told me yourself." I gripped the window frame, disbelief cutting through me like ice. I wanted to scream, to run inside, to confront her, but I couldn't move. My mind raced. How long had this been going on? Could I have missed it? I backed away from the window, my chest tight. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to punch something, him, her, the world, but I stayed still. I had to think. Later, I met Ryan at our usual diner. He looked at me, already knowing. "You saw something," he said, sliding a coffee across the table. I nodded. "Hey, Clara, Daniel, they..." My voice broke. I swallowed hard. "I can't believe it." Ryan leaned back, eyes serious. "I told you, man. You have to watch. People aren't always what they seem." I slammed my fist lightly on the table. I trusted her. I thought we were happy. You still can be. You just have to play smart now. "What do you mean?" "You need to observe, not react. Let her think everything's normal while you figure out your next move, emotionally. Decisions won't help." I chewed on his words. Part of me wanted to confront Clara immediately, rip the truth out of her. But Ryan was right, I needed proof, a plan. That night I stayed awake, replaying every conversation, every small hint I had ignored. Her laughter with him, the late-night texts she hid, the way she avoided eye contact sometimes. It all made sense now. The betrayal burned in me. Anger, disbelief, heartbreak, they all collided at once. I felt like I had been stabbed, yet no. One had touched me. I remembered the first time we met, Clara smiling, holding that stubborn little smirk of hers. I had fallen in love instantly, and now I realized I had been blind. The next day, I pretended everything was normal. "Morning," I said, kissing her cheek. She smiled, unsuspecting. "Morning," she said, her eyes bright with secrets I now knew about. I poured my coffee, keeping my voice calm. "Did you sleep well?" "Yeah, why?" she asked. Her smile made me sick. "Just checking," I said. I wanted her to think I was still the same man she had deceived. But inside, I was anything but the same. Later, Ryan called again. "So," he asked. "I saw them," I admitted, together, laughing like I wasn't even there. He was quiet for a moment, and, "I don't know yet," I said. "It can't just confront her?" "Not now, I need to figure this out." "Good," he said. "Patience. You'll need it." Trust me, you're stronger than you think. I hung up, my mind spinning. I replayed Daniel's smug face, Clara's hand on his arm, her laughter. I clenched my fists under the table. I wanted revenge. Not yet, not until I had a plan, but I wanted it. That night, I stayed in the living room, pretending to read. Clara came in, placing her phone down, leaning on the couch beside me. "You seem distant," she said casually. I smiled softly, hiding the storm inside me. "Just tired." She nodded, not suspecting I knew everything. "I'll make dinner," she said. "Thanks," I replied. I watched her leave, my mind sharp, alert. I realized something important. I had been blind, but I wasn't anymore. Now, I would play the perfect illusion too. I would let her believe I was oblivious, weak, unaware. But inside, I was already planning. Every smile, every word, every casual gesture would be part of the act. I wouldn't let her see the storm brewing beneath my calm. Not yet. Not until it was time. And when that time came, she would understand exactly what it felt like to be betrayed. I finished my coffee, staring out the window, silent but furious. I had lost the woman I loved, but I hadn't lost myself. Not yet. I would watch. I would wait. And I would make sure she felt the consequences of her choices. The perfect illusion was over. But my revenge was just beginning. I stared at my reflection in the office window, the city lights flickering behind me. "You're okay," I muttered to myself. But I wasn't. Not even close. Sophia, my colleague, walked over, holding 2 coffees. "You look like hell," she said, handing me one. "Thanks," I said, forcing a small smile. "Rough day." "You're lying," she said, setting her coffee down. "What's going on?" I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "Just personal stuff. Nothing to worry about." She leaned against the desk, studying me. "I've known you for a while. You don't lie well. Come on, talk to me." I hesitated. "It's my wife." Her eyes widened slightly. "Everything okay?" "No," I admitted, the word heavy. "I found out she's seeing someone else." She frowned. "Clara?" I nodded. "Yeah, I saw them." Laughing, touching like I didn't exist. Sophia's expression softened. "I'm so sorry. That's awful." "I don't know what to do," I said honestly. Part of me wants to confront her immediately. Part of me wants revenge. Can't think straight. She took a step closer. "Then don't act. Not yet. Patience is your only weapon right now." "I know," I said, though my chest burned with frustration. "I have to let her believe I'm weaker than I am. Poor, distracted, broken. She can't suspect anything." Sophia tilted her head. "You're serious about this?" I nodded. "Every word. She needs to see that she underestimated me, that I'm still in control, and I will be." She studied me for a moment. "Okay, I'll help. You'll need someone to watch your back while you figure things out." "Thanks," I said quietly. It felt strange, having someone understand without judging me. Later, Victor came by my desk, smirking as usual. "You been quiet lately? Losing focus?" I looked up, hiding my agitation behind a calm mask. "Just busy," I said. He said, raising an eyebrow. "You know, if you need help keeping up, I'm here. Not that you can compete." I smiled thinly. "Thanks, Victor. But I can manage." He leaned closer. "You sure? Sometimes people need encouragement." I nodded, pretending indifference. Inside, I already knew I could use him in my plan. Overconfidence was his weakness. That night, I came home pretending to slump in exhaustion. "Hey," Clara said from the kitchen, smiling. "Hey," I said, voice low. "Tough day, you look tired," she said, stepping closer. "Yeah." "Finances are tight," I said, forcing the words out like poison. "Just trying to make ends meet." Her smile faltered slightly. "Oh, I didn't realize." "Yeah," I said casually, "but I'll manage. Don't worry about me." She nodded, accepting my act. I could feel the power shift slightly in my favor. Inside, I was planning every move, every step toward exposing her mistakes. Over the next few days, I acted more distracted, more withdrawn. Clara's calls went unanswered, texts delayed. She noticed but didn't suspect my awareness. That silence. That carefully constructed mask was my weapon. Sophia checked in often. "You're handling this well," she said one morning. "Better than I expected," I smiled, grateful for her support. "Thanks. It's not easy, but it's necessary." Victor continued to challenge me at work, unknowingly playing into my hands. "You're falling behind," he said during a meeting. "Maybe you need more time to catch up." I leaned back, calm. "I appreciate the advice. I'll consider it." Later, he sent a memo questioning my project progress. Perfect. His arrogance would be the tool I needed. At home, Clara noticed my distant demeanor. "You've changed," she said one night, leaning against the doorway. "Yeah," I said softly. "Life's complicated." She frowned. "You're acting weird." Smiled faintly. "Maybe I'm just tired. You know how work is." Her eyes lingered on me, suspicion brewing, but she said nothing. Not yet. I spent hours replaying every moment I'd spent with her. Every laugh, every embrace, every time I thought we were happy. I questioned myself. Had I missed all the signs? Every subtle gesture, every whispered phone call, every late night. Excuse it all made sense now. I clenched my fists quietly. Anger, heartbreak, and determination mixed into a potent storm inside me. I couldn't let her get away with this, not without consequences. Sophia noticed my growing intensity. "You're planning something," she said carefully. "I am," I admitted. "But it's not just revenge. She needs to realize the damage she caused without me destroying myself in the process." "That's smart," she said, nodding slowly. "Don't let this consume you completely." "I won't," I said firmly, though inside I knew this would change me. At work, Victor made another misstep, arrogant as ever. "You think you can handle this alone?" he asked, unaware that I'd already planned a countermeasure. "I do," I said confidently, hiding my real strategy. Every word, every gesture was part of the act. He had no idea he was helping me. Home life continued as a carefully constructed illusion. Clara believed I was struggling, weak, distracted. Every smile I gave her, every tired nod, was a lie. "What?" The storm inside me grew, a dark, simmering plan that refused to be ignored. Sophia's advice, Victor's arrogance, Clara's ignorance, they all became tools. Every interaction, every whispered word, every casual glance was a step toward reclaiming control. I realized something crucial. Patience was my greatest weapon. Immediate action would be foolish. Observation and strategy would yield the best results. I let the mask slip only around Sophia. She understood the storm inside me, offering guidance without judgment. Clara, blissfully unaware, continued her secret life. She underestimated me. She thought I was broken, distracted, defeated. Inside, I smiled faintly. Let her believe it. Let her enjoy her illusion. I was gathering strength, planning my move, letting karma shape itself while I stayed calm. And when the moment came, she wouldn't know what hit her. I leaned back in my chair, sipping coffee, thinking about the next steps. Patience, observation, subtle manipulation, every move calculated, every reaction planned. Revenge wasn't immediate. It was precise, and I was already winning. I sat at my desk, fingers drumming lightly on the wood, pretending to review reports. But my mind was elsewhere on Clara, on Daniel, and on the perfect setup I was constructing. Victor came by, smirking as always. "You look different today," he said, more confident. I smiled faintly, hiding the storm inside. "Just focused," I replied. He leaned closer. "Focused, huh? Don't let work get in the way of your personal life. Or are you done competing already?" "I'm far from done," I said smoothly, just choosing my battles carefully. He raised an eyebrow. "Strategic, huh? I like it. Just don't fall behind." I nodded, masking my amusement. He had no idea how useful he'd be. Later, Sophia approached my desk. "Everything going okay?" she asked, eyebrows knitting. "Yes," I said. "Better than ever, actually." "You're lying," she said, smiling faintly. "But I like it." Means you're in control. I am, I said, letting the words linger. Inside, I felt a rush. Control was exactly what I was reclaiming. At home, Clara greeted me with a casual smile.
You've been
Distant again, she said, leaning against the counter. Work's been demanding, I replied casually. I barely noticed anything outside it. Her eyes narrowed slightly, suspicion flickering. I see. I poured coffee, letting the calm mask settle over me. Just tired, I guess. Don't read too much into it. Clara glanced at me, then left the room. I allowed myself a quiet smirk. She thought she could manipulate me, but the roles were shifting. The next evening, I arranged to accidentally bump into Daniel at a business event. I smiled when he didn't recognize me immediately. Hey, I said casually. Didn't expect to see you here. Daniel blinked. Oh, hey, you look confident, I said, voice calm. But overconfidence can be dangerous, don't you think? He laughed nervously. I'm fine. Don't worry about me, I smiled thinly. Oh, I'm not worried, just observing. Careful with your choices, they have consequences. His smile faltered, and I knew the seed had been planted. The following day, at home, Clara tried to act normal. Dinner's ready, she said, her tone lighter than usual. Thanks, I replied. Looks good. She lingered in the kitchen watching me. You've been different lately? I can't figure you out. I looked at her calmly. Maybe that's the point. She frowned, a flicker of unease crossing her features. Hiding something. Maybe I am, I said softly. Or maybe I just don't need to share everything. Her lips pressed into a thin line. You've changed, she whispered. And maybe you should too, I said. Letting the words hang, work offered its own opportunities. Victor continued to underestimate me, sending careless emails, making bold statements in meetings. I noted every mistake, every slip. Each one was a building block in my plan. Sophia noticed my growing intensity. You're playing this well, she said one afternoon. It's better than I thought you could. Thanks, I said. It's not just revenge. It's maintaining dignity. Letting them see their own mistakes without destroying myself in the process. She nodded. Smart, just don't lose yourself. I won't, I said, though a part of me wondered if I already had. The thrill of watching karma unfold was intoxicating, but also dangerous. Could I remain the same man I was before all this? At a company mixer, I watched Clara and Daniel from across the room. Smiles were a little forced, their laughter a little too loud. Felt satisfaction and unease simultaneously. Later, Daniel made a misstep. I think we should finalize everything tonight, he said, overconfident. Are you sure? Clara asked. I'm sure, he replied, ignoring the tension in her eyes. I knew immediately it was a fatal error. His arrogance, combined with Clara's slipping control, would be enough to tip the balance. That evening, I met Sophia briefly. Did you see it? She asked, excited. I did, I said softly. They're unraveling faster than I expected. Ishtu smiled good. Just careful with yourself, okay? I nodded. I am. I've learned patience. That's my advantage. At home, Clara confronted me more directly. Something's off, she said, arms crossed. I can feel it. You're watching me. I smiled faintly, letting the calm mask hide the storm inside. Maybe I am, I said softly. Or maybe I'm just observing life. Her lips pressed together. I can't read you anymore. Good, I said. Maybe that's the point. Each day, I watched them. Each careless move, each slip, became evidence, fuel for the eventual reckoning. Clara's overconfidence started to crack. Daniel's mistakes compounded. The thrill of control was intoxicating, but I reminded myself constantly. This wasn't about hatred. This was about balance, justice, reclaiming what was mine at work. Victor unknowingly played into my hands again, questioning my authority and overstepping boundaries. I used it to strengthen my position, gaining allies and credibility I had lacked while consumed by emotion. Sophia remained a quiet anchor, her advice a moral compass. Don't let revenge consume your soul. she reminded me one night. I won't, I said. I'm learning control. It's more powerful than any impulsive action. Home life continued as a theater of calm and observation. Clara believed she was untouchable, unaware that I had gained the upper hand in every subtle way. Daniel grew reckless. Clara became anxious, and I, patient, calculated, watched it all unfold. The balance of power had shifted, and soon the consequences would arrive. Every word I spoke, every casual gesture, every quiet smile was part of the plan. Karma was in motion, and I was the silent conductor. When the time came, they wouldn't just face the consequences, they would see them. Through my eyes, and I would remain the calm observer, the master of the game they didn't even realize they were playing. I walked into the apartment, my hands calm, my steps measured. Clara looked up from the sofa, her smile strained. "You're late," she said, tempting casualness. "I wasn't late," I replied evenly. "I just wanted to talk." Her eyes narrowed. "Talk about what?" I held up a folder, letting it rest on the table. "This." She frowned. "What's that?" "Proof," I said quietly, "of everything. Every lie, every hidden message, every meeting with Daniel. I kept track. You underestimated me." Her lips trembled. "You already did," I said softly, "and it's over." She sank into the couch, her hands covering her face. I didn't mean, you didn't mean," I asked, voice calm. "You betrayed me, Clara. You chose someone else while I trusted you completely." Her eyes glistened. I thought you'd understand." "Understand?" I laughed, lightly shaking my head. "I understood the moment I saw you with him. The moment I realized every word, every laugh, every touch was a lie. Do you know what that feels like?" She swallowed hard. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything," I said. "But patience, observation, and control, they do." I watched her crumble silently. No yelling, no accusations, just her and the undeniable truth. Later, Daniel called. I didn't answer. Minutes later, a news alert popped up on my phone. Daniel Reynolds implicated in company fraud. Legal action pending. I leaned back, watching the screen. Karma was subtle, but precise. Clara looked at me, realization dawning. You did this?" "I didn't do anything," I said, voice soft. "You did it to yourselves." I just watched and waited. Her hands shook. I didn't know it would. You didn't think," I said. "That's the difference between us." She went silent, and I let her sit with it. The isolation. The regret. The knowledge that her manipulations failed. It was enough. Sophia called later, checking in. "How's it going?" "Better than I expected," I admitted. "They're facing consequences." A calm, at peace. "You've changed," she said gently. "You've grown stronger." "I have," I said. Patience and control taught me more than anger ever could. At work, Victor approached, a hint of respect in his tone. "You handled this well. Smart moves." "Thank you," I said, keeping my voice measured. "I learned from mistakes." "From observing others?" Clara finally spoke, voice barely a whisper. "I never thought I'd lose you like this." "Didn't lose me," I said calmly. "I lost trust, and I chose to reclaim my life." Tears filled her eyes. "Do you? Will you forgive me?" I shook my head. "Forgiveness isn't for you anymore. It's for me. I forgive myself for ever trusting blindly." She looked down. Silent, I let her be. There was nothing left to say. Days passed. I rebuilt routines, strengthened connections, and focused on personal growth. No revenge, no lingering bitterness, just clarity. Sophia met me for coffee one afternoon. "You seem lighter," she said. "I am," I said. "I've learned that control, patience, and self-respect matter more than punishment. Karma handles itself if you stay calm. You've truly transformed," she said softly. I nodded. "I have, and I'll continue forward. Wiser, stronger, and more aware." Clara's absence became permanent. She retreated into isolation, avoiding contact. Facing the consequences of her choices alone, Daniel's downfall was public, professional, and unavoidable. I didn't need to intervene. Observation had been enough. I walked through the apartment, seeing it as mine again. Quiet, orderly, reclaimed. A place of calm, not betrayal. I thought back to every sleepless night, every moment of doubt and rage. Each had led me here, to clarity, control, and self-respect. Victor stopped by one last time. "I'll admit I didn't expect this," he said. "You turned every disadvantage into strength." I smiled faintly. "That's the point. Watch. Learn and act carefully. That's how you win without losing yourself," Sophia called later, laughing lightly. "I think you've earned some peace." "I have," I said, "and I intend to keep it. No one can take this from me now." The apartment was quiet that evening. I poured myself a drink and sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker. The storm inside me had passed. Remained was calm, focused, aware. I thought of Clara one last time. Regret, isolation, the weight of her choices, it was enough. I didn't need to gloat. The universe had done its work. I reflected on myself. The betrayal had cut deep, but it didn't destroy me. Patience and restraint had empowered me more than any act of vengeance ever could. I had learned to act with purpose, to observe before reacting, and to control my emotions. That control was more satisfying than revenge, more powerful than hate. As I looked out over the city, I realized I was free from lies, manipulation, and the illusion of love that had deceived me. My life was mine again. My independence, dignity, and clarity restored. Clara would live with regret. Daniel would face the consequences of arrogance. And I, stronger, wiser, and unshaken, would move forward. I smiled faintly, the night calm around me. Justice had been served without my hand, and I had gained something far more valuable. Myself, patience, observation, and self-control had won. And I would carry that lesson for the rest of my life. The reckoning was complete. The storm had passed, and I was finally at peace.